This is the latest member of the N series from Asus, N750JV to be exact. It's a follow-up from last year's N76, which is a fantastic laptop, and it's one of the popular laptops last year. The N750 may look identical to the N76, but there is so much to love about the latest model. Let's find out. I'm Jens Garcia from Tech for Geeks, and this is our full review of the Asus N750JV. The N750 is sleek and lighter. It's packed with the latest 4th generation Intel processor, along with Nvidia 700 series graphics and 16GB of RAM. It also supports dual HDDs, giving this laptop a 1.5TB of storage to store all your medias and games. Now, aesthetically, the N750 is quite identical to the N76. It has a nice metal body and dark aluminum covering the top and the bottom of the laptop, with the silver interior layout from a solid piece of the same material. The laptop feels premium in every aspect of it. There is a bit of weight with the laptop, but it's not big of a deal because most of it are coming from its overall build quality. Looking around the sides, on the left you'll find the PSU, Ethernet port, a full-size HDMI, and you'll also have mini display port, 2 USB 3.0s, and a card reader, which can actually swallow a regular SD card, as you can see here. On the right, there are the audio and microphone jacks, another 2 USB 3.0 ports, optical drive, which is a Blu-ray player in our case, plus the subwoofer jack and Kensington lock. And as for the front, you'll find some bright status LEDs here. The hinge of the display is very sturdy, and it's not something that's going to flex easily, which is what I like. And there's also a webcam and microphone that should do for video calls and not really for still images. Speaking of the display, it is 17.3-inch Full HD IPS display with non-glare coating, which is great because I really dislike glossy displays. The N750's display is better than most mid-range laptops, and sure, it's Full HD, but that doesn't mean that it's the best. The display is sharp and bright enough for my liking, and with a great viewing angle, you shouldn't have problem using this in a high exposed situation. The display is more on the warm side, as most Asus laptops are, and in terms of contrast and colors, they could be improved. Colors aren't as accurate as I thought it would be, and I find it slightly oversaturated, especially with bright colors. Overall, the display is not a disappointment. Probably for the price of this laptop, it is. Moving on to the keyboard and trackpad. Now, the typing experience on the N750 is decent. It's soft and it's easy to press, but it attracts sweat a lot due to its smooth finish. The keys are large enough and spaced properly, making typing comfortable. The keys don't flex and it feels very sturdy overall. Now, I find the trackpad to be too large, although having large trackpad means there will be more space to navigate around the screen. It's accurate and very smooth, and as for the click pads, I discovered that it needs a little more pressure when you click, and that is something that I didn't quite like about the trackpad. Apart from that, it features all the Windows 8 gestures. Now, I probably talk a lot about the boring stuff, so let's just jump on to the important part of the review, which is the internal hardware and how it performs in the real world. The unit we got features the latest 4th generation Intel Core i7 processor, 4GB of Nvidia GT750M, dual storage with 750GB on each bay, and all today's connectivity standards such as Bluetooth 4.0, 802.11, ABG&N, and unfortunately this is not AC compatible. Now, based on 3D Mark 13, the score for Firestrike was 1460, while on Extreme it scored 695. Based on Cinebench, it scored 6.79 for the CPU and 52.60 frames per second for the OpenGL. Comparing it next to 3rd generation Core i7 processor, there's not a lot of difference in terms of CPU processing, scoring at 5.26. I was able to use applications like Sony Vegas Pro and Photoshop at the same time, along with other background applications with no problem. So multitasking overall is not a problem with this. If you're the person who are always productive, then the N750 will do fine. While I cannot tell you how the gaming performance performs compared to last year's model of the Nvidia graphics. I was able to play Battlefield 3 at high settings at 25 to 30 frames per second, and if you're going to play it in Ultra, then don't even bother. I was also able to play FIFA 14 in high settings, though there seemed to be rendering problems during the gameplay, so I'm assuming that was just driver's problem. I tried comparing the rendering times on my personal laptop, which is running GT 630M, and I didn't see a massive difference in terms of rendering time using the GPU, but the N750 was faster by 2 minutes, but overall it wasn't that much. As for file transfer speed, since this is using HDD, therefore you will not see a constant transfer speed. Alright, here's a sample. The laptop is pretty quiet thanks to its new cooling system. However, the laptop does get hot once you start putting it into its paces. And I'm talking about the laptop, not just where the internals are, but also the palm rest. When it comes to media consumption, this laptop is great. It comes with Bang & Olufsen ice power technology, and if you're not familiar with the company, they are basically Danish-based that designs and manufactures audio products, TVs, and telephones, but that was in the 1930s and 1940s. Asus also included subwoofer in the package, which is great, and I'm not going to tell you all the highs, mids, and lows, so I'll just play a track instead, and you tell me what you think of it.
But start with you in a ring of fire. I'll forget the days gone by. I'll protect your body and guard your soul from mirages in your sight, lost out in the desert.
The last important part of this review is the battery life. The N750 has a Li polymer battery at 69 watts per hour or 6060 mAh. The machine was able to adapt the scenario very well. You'll hardly get about 1.5 hours of playtime, which I guess is something that most of you are expecting. Performing light tasks, however, is a different story. I was able to get 4.5 hours with this, using it for web browsing, typing documents, and just watch a few YouTube videos as well. If you're going to be watching movies with it, you should be able to watch 2 full HD movies straight. Overall, the Asus N750 is definitely a gorgeous laptop. However, in my opinion, the 1,899 Australian dollar price tag is way too much for this laptop. It's powerful and handles all different paces very well, but for 1,899 you can definitely get a much more powerful laptop than this. I wish the GPU is a little punchier than the current GPU, but as I've said, this is a great overall machine. In Australia, you can get this at Harvey Norman or JB Hi-Fi and other retailers. And if you're from the US, I will link you to the cheapest one I can find on Amazon. So there you have it, that is our full review of the Asus N750, and if you enjoyed it, then definitely make sure to hit the like button for more in-depth review like this. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and Instagram. All the links will be in the description box below. As always, I'm Jens Garcia from Tech for Geeks, and I'll see you all in the next one.